I wanted to point out that when I started putting these in, I started using a clamp to just clamp the front of it down. Hold it down while I'm screwing the rest of them, while I'm screwing the screws in. Okay, so I cut some more plywood for the shelves. I'm going to keep working my way up. Okay, we have 10 shelves so far in the cabinet. I just cut some more 1/4 inch plywood, 10 inches deep, 18 1/4 inches wide, and I'm going to continue up the rest of the cabinet here. One of the things I wanted to point out that I like about these cases that I'm using, with the removable bins, you can take the bin out and bring it to where your work is. You don't have to have the whole case with you. In the past, I always used containers that didn't have removable bins. It makes it really difficult to move hardware around if you're changing things up a bit and how you're organizing your stuff, or if you want to just put it here and bring it to where your work is. I'm just starting some of these screws on the workbench here just to save a little bit of time as I'm putting them in place and screwing them in the side of the cabinet. I know in the camera shot you can only see the one side of the cabinet, but I'm repeating the same process on the other side. It's like all the way up. It is easier to start these screws in the pine side while this is on the bench, because my drill is heavy. It's harder to reach in there and screw it in. On the one side I'm using this clamp, on the other side I'm not. Kind of hit or miss. It's not really necessary, it makes it just a little bit easier because I don't have to hold it. Just the way that I'm standing, it's easier to hold it on the right side of the cabinet. Screw it with my left hand. Okay, I got to cut a couple more pieces of plywood. The reason I'm not nailing and gluing these in place is because I don't know if I'll ever want to change the design up a little bit. If I do, I can still use the cabinet and just unscrew the pine that I have in here. Alright, so I'm going to have a hard time getting my drill in here, so I'm just going to remove a couple of these shelves. I'm going to get a piece of scrap here to put as a spacer. Okay, I think that's pretty much done. Let's start putting some cases in them. Alright, so the cabinet's all assembled and finished. I have some boxes in it. One of the things I'm thinking about doing is adding a little top on here to take a plastic bin out and put it on top, or to be able to put hardware up here without having anything roll off. So I have some scrap plywood. I think I'm going to just I'm going to rip a piece to fit on the top, which is 13 3/4 inches deep by 20 inches wide, and then maybe have a little lip on the sides and maybe the front so that it stays in place and then would prevent hardware from rolling off. So I think I could do it and have it just sit up here where it doesn't have to be fastened in place. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, I cut the top and I cut the three sides. I had some leftover birch veneer plywood from another project. And I'm going to put a coat of polyurethane on this. It'll actually finish real nice. So it's going to sit up here. I'm going to have the sides come up probably. I'm not going to have this all the way to the top because I want to kind of wrap the top with the sides and the back. So this way it could just sit on here without moving left to right or, you know, sliding off easily. So I'm going to have the sides attached here, like this, and then this piece across the back. So I'm going to go ahead and mark where I want to screw these in, pre-drill the holes, and then we'll assemble this. I don't know if you probably can't see the pencil lines, but these are the two edges, and I made a mark, and then I marked for 4 locations where I'm going to pre-drill for the screws. The way that this is going to work is these boards are 3.5 inches wide. Well, I made a mark 2 inches down, and about 2 1/4 is where my mark is for the pre-drilling of the holes. The way that this is going to work, assuming that this is the top, I'm going to have 3/4 of an inch drop down to the case on this side here. So I marked it so that the pre-drilled holes will drill right into the side of the top. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pre-drill these 4 holes. Okay, with the holes pre-drilled there, I'm going to mark and pre-drill the back part. Okay, what I did is I have the, let me just take these clamps off and show you. So I have the top positioned here next to my side of my workbench, and I have it on a little stool here. And I want the side piece of wood to come down past the edge here 3/4 of an inch. So I have a scrap piece of 3/4 inch plywood that I'm just going to bolt, or excuse me, clamp in place just to use as a guide. So then what happens is, when I take the piece that I have that have the screws, I did make pencil lines on this side because I thought I was going to use those as a guide, but I don't need to do that now that I have the edge piece here. So I'm going to just hold this in place. I'm going to start with the edge here on the left, and we're going to go ahead and screw this in. Okay, I have the one edge, and I'm going to come to the other edge to make sure it's straight. And then I'm going to do the center screws. Okay. You can see that the edge is, see if I can get this on camera here. The edge is kind of over the edge by 3/4 of an inch. And we'll go to the other side. Alright, here it is. The backs, the sides. I didn't put a front on it. It just sit right here on top. I could put a front on it here, screw a front edge so it doesn't go push back either. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I'm just going to leave it like this for now. We'll see how it works out. I could also screw it from underneath to keep it in place, but I think I'd rather just have the ability to pick it up and move it, take it over to a workbench, or if I had parts on top of it, things like that. So for now we're just going to leave it like this. I'm going to put some polyurethane on it. See you in a little bit. I lightly sanded the edges, the unfinished edge here. And I have some high gloss polyurethane. I'm just going to do a coat of that. Okay, now I'm going to do the sides.